So now we can go into our full thing here, go to the top view, as that'll give you the best representation of where to put it. Size it down to what you think is acceptable, and then we can bring it over and line it up properly. Now you can look at your reference image for this, but because I'm not really one to care so much about this at the moment anyway, I would line it up more later on, but as for now, I'm not going to do much. And then copy it again, move it over here, and you obviously want it to look better when you're done. Just make sure you get everything lined up properly. This was just an insanely quick mock-up, sorry, of how I normally do the bolts. Now those are still quite massive for it. It's mainly because I just made the size of it really large, so, or the height of it really large, sorry. So those look horrible at the moment, but that is how you will go about doing it later on. We'll delete all those and move it off to the side. And then another thing you have is the center cap. If we pop this up, you have the center cap, which can easily be made with a oil tank. Just take this, bring it over here, and bring the height down. Not all the way like that, but just about there. And then we go ahead and move it in the center, scale it down appropriately, move it to the very middle of the wheel. I'm going to line it up with the red line as best as I can, and there we go. We now have ourselves a center cap that needs to be moved down a little bit. I should really turn off snapping and scroll in to see where this is exactly. To about there, and you have your center cap, and then you can just apply your texture to that. That's too small for what this center cap actually is. It'd be more around that size, I would think. I just want to make sure it's still lined up properly. Up there, and then we can bring it up a little bit. Perfect. So you now have something like that. We'll rename this to center cap. And then we're on to the hardest bit, which is the outside, and connecting the actual wheel to the outer lip, or whatever you call it. So I'm gonna get a a tube for this. Open it up to what you think is approximately the right size. I'd say something around there, and in just a little bit, and then close it off, and then we're gonna bring it to the bottom because that is where they connect. And the thing I don't like about wheels like this is because you have well, basically all wheels connect like this. So we're just gonna move it up to around there so it sits flush. We will have to, what's it called, center it, because the wheel is off center, remember, as you can see here. You just really want all the inside of the wheel, at least once every part of the end of the spoke, on all 5 spokes inside this circle. And then from there, you could do it the lazy way, or you could do it more of the proper way, I guess, and you could weld all the points together, which is really what you're gonna have to do. If we go into here, and we now have points all along here, so we're just gonna do the welding again. As you can see how many points there actually is on this compared to the tube. So what you're gonna want to do is go back to the tube and turn the rotation segments up. I'd say around 150. Now you're gonna get quite a lot of polygons now when you do this. make editable, but it does make the welding a lot easier, as you can now see from the difference. Welding should now be much easier to do, and I'm going to take a quick drink of water. And I'm going to check the recording time just a minute. Gotta turn my second monitor back on. We've been going for 32 minutes. Alright, so this is probably going to be 2 parts. So, now we just gotta weld all the points like I showed when we were doing the middle part here. You can see there's some mesh errors along there still. We'll have to fix that up later. But for now, go along here. Okay. And this is where I say welding sucks. And now, is this correct if we... One second. Alright, so we can delete this whole top row of points, because it's too far inside of the... oops. Too far inside of the circle to actually weld, so it's just kind of a pointless little thing going on for a second. And delete those. This is why welding sucks, especially when it doesn't fit properly. And you gotta do all of your reconstruction. But once you do know how to model, it's a lot of fun to do, because you can really do anything you want. You make, unlike Forza or any other games where you don't have the limitless customization that you do with modeling. And that's what I like so much about it, is I can do virtually anything I want to a car. And I make it my own. I would like to say to turn 10, you know, this isn't really that hard. I mean, come on. Put some extra drift kits in there or something. Hell, I'll even do it for free. I'll make some drift kits that you guys can put in the game for free, and I'd be totally fine with that. As long as we had some awesome drift stuff to do. And there we go. Oh, almost. Almost there. I think that's it. There might be this. Nope. Looks like we're done. Which is good. Now we just have to move on. Ah, damn it, I didn't do any height segments. But that isn't too hard to do. We just go into the knife tool and then the loop, and put a few of those down the side. And now we just want to select both of them. Go to our weld tool, select, oh, we gotta turn that on. MQ weld. MQ weld. MQ weld. MQ weld. I'm gonna speed this bit up again. Just because I already did this once, you guys know how to do it. There's no, oh! That's, I selected 3 points there. Another reason why I hate doing this. Oh, come on. What is this doing? I only have 2 selected, don't I? Do I have more? No. Alright. I'm really confused at this point. Welding, you suck. Outer lips of a wheel, you suck. There we go. Alright, I'll see you guys when I'm done. Alright, so basically, it would take me over an hour to do this, and I'm not going to record for an hour. So I'm just going to merge these together, connect the objects, and then from there, we're going to... I'm going to show you how to get to the curvature of the spokes. So we're going to come into here, go into our lines, and then go to this, the selection, not this selection, sorry, the move tool. And then under soft selection, you're going to enable that. And what that does is, if I select here, for example, and then we go into here, you see this preview come here, and if you do that, it basically warps the whole wheel. And you can see what I said about lazy, like you just do that and the mesh automatically becomes connected. Now it's obviously not a good mesh, and if we Hyper NURBS it, you can see there's quite a few problems around the side here. So that is why I always recommend to do the whole welding around, but it's just going to take way too long to do that, so I am not in the mood to do it. So for this, we're going to select, because it looks like it's near the very edge that does it, we're going to select from these spokes downwards. Everything. Okay, good. I was make sure only select visible elements was off. So we're going to select all of these. It may have been easier to just turn on, hold on. Change this up to like 60. About 120. I'm trying to get it to be like, so that I select all of these at the same time. There, that should be good. So we'll do that. Automatically selects all of the polygons that we wanted. Now we can come off into here. And okay. So as you can see, it does that. And that is not what we want. We want all of them to move, right? So we're going to go into our soft selection, change this from dome to circle. Our radius should move, oh, that's way too high. Our radius should be about there. And as you can see, we got, we have to like get it to match decently, which it's obviously not doing at the moment, so you just want to change these around until we get a decent match with it. Another thing you could do is drop it into Hyper NURBS, and this will just make everything more smooth. As you can see, that compared to that, it's much smoother. Hyper NURBS always smooths it, or whatever smoothing. I don't know if any. Oh, okay. Drop that out of Hyper NURBS. Come back here. So I'm not sure if any other programs really have anything close to this where you can easily do. Oh, that's terrible. I think the best one for us is going to be dome, and then just turn that up a little bit. Now we don't want it on the edge, but this is not working too well. So let's maybe turn soft selection off. This is gonna be horrible. Look how deep dish that is. That would be just atrocious. Okay. So we're going to hop into the top view again and deselect that layer, just all the way around. We're going to keep going until we can, basically I just want to move it up, and then just like that. If we do drop it into Hyper NURBS, it looks much better, but it's not really working with soft selection too well, so I'm going to quickly just try something else with soft selection. We can change this back down to 25, that should be good enough. Go right along here and select all of, select these. This whole soft selection thing it's a lot of trial and error until you get it correct for the shape of the wheel. So that's what I'm going to be doing here, just trying different things and seeing if I can come out with a good result. Now, the thing you want to try to do is not use Hyper NURBS, because if you do that, you get more polygons, and you don't have as much of a option to use them in games because of how many polygons it has. Okay, let's try. That's a little too far. Bring it back into about there. Try that. I don't know. The edge just isn't working right with this. I think the best result we're going to get, honestly, is if we go back and select even more. I think this is going to be the best result we'll have, which is unfortunate because I want to use soft selection as much as I can. It gives the best result. We'll turn this off. Oops, go in here, disable that, and now pull it up to about there. Actually, no, it's not even that steep. Hyper NURBS. I don't know, that's kind of the best we'll get with this wheel. It's unfortunate. I'm gonna give soft selection one more try. Oops. Oops, I gotta bring that up. See, it's not working. It's not working. The way this wheel is angled is so weird compared to how you would normally see it, because we need this to be all flat. Okay, well, no soft selection for this. We're just gonna turn this off, bring it up to about there, Hyper NURBS it, and call it a day. That is what we're doing because everything else doesn't work. One thing I want to try actually is to get a little bit more curvature on the wheel here. I mean, we got the raised up bit now, but I want to do this again. Oops. I want to do this, allow us to get a little bit of a curve on the spoke, just so that it looks a little nicer and it's not just completely flat. Oh, come on. Tutorial is so long now. Alright, that should be good. Hop over here. Go into our live selection, or soft selection. Oh, sorry, not restrict. I am stupid. Oh, come on. Now I just want a little bit of a curve to the spokes to give it some depth, and that way it's not completely flat. I think that looks better. Now we can go objects, connect current state to object, and now delete that, delete that. Now we have, let's see how many polygons this is. 101,000 polygons. So that's bad for games, and that is why we have these options. Go into here, drop this down. Now as you can see, it still smooths out the edges pretty decently if we drop these both down to 1. But as soon as we go up to 2 and 3, we start getting much nicer edges. So for the sake of this tutorial, I would say if you want it for a game, go down to 1 on both of these. But because I'm going to use it for renders, I'm going to go up to 3 to get a nicer looking wheel. Make it this object, and now we have this. Our wheel is pretty much complete. We don't have a center cap in there anymore. Should probably move that up to about there, and then you're just gonna want to line the bolts up properly, and from there you're pretty much done the wheel. You have the outside bit, but that is another 30 or so minutes to make. So I'm just gonna use the ones I have from my steelies. We'll call this center. Oh no, that's outer bit. What am I on about? Outer. Completely messed up that spelling, but I don't care. That can go. Now we can just turn this size way up. And then from here you can adjust the amount of ditch you have on your wheel and everything else. You can make it specific to how the actual edge is made, but I'm too lazy for that at the moment. We've been going for about an hour now. And yeah. You can also just like get a wheel from Forza or something and use that. And then all we have left to do really is just add the final touches to it, which is like all these bolts around here, and that can be easily done by well, first of all, this is way too deep. Pull it up to about there. Much better. But to add those bolts, we'll just, I'm not gonna show you that because it'll take a long time again. But we're basically going to go into our oil tank, a new one here, pull it up, and then make it editable, sorry. Come into here, and select from here, over there. Oh, I have the soft selection still on. Disable that. Turn that back on, change this down to 10. That should allow us to select these two pretty evenly. Bring that up. We gotta scroll in. Now this obviously isn't going to be the best screw you could make. You'd make one much better if you did even lines throughout it, but again, just for the tutorial's sake and the I'm lazy route, I'm just gonna do it this way. It's also not even, but nonetheless, I don't really care at this point. You'll get the idea of how to do it, but you just basically drop this down, and when that's scaled down, you have this decent looking screw, and then you can just put that in around the edges. So I'm gonna finish this wheel off, do a render of it, and show you guys what it looks like when it's all finished. That is basically the basics of doing a wheel. You can apply those techniques over to cars and body kits and other things like that. But yeah, that is much easier than waiting here for another hour to finish all the touches up and weld all the bits around the edges and stuff like that. So thank you for watching. If you want any other tutorials, leave them in the comments below. This was a long time, and I am pretty tired at this point. So yeah, I'll see you guys next time.